From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson, joined by a very dear friend on the line.
Remember, because I am COVID-free right now at the moment, and I'm getting all the attention I need from all the beautiful nurses, ladies that I have here. And the hottest, baddest, sexiest man on cable access TV is honored to be on your show, even though the honor is yours. But let's get right to it. Jamie, oh Jamie, lend me your ear, for I have something to tell you that you may not want to bloody hear. The Lakers won the championship. The Dodgers are going at it with with whomever. The Yankees are going at it. The Jets are blundering all over, and so is the Giants winning their first game. What do we do about New York, Jamie? Please tell me.
What do we do? Well, there's really not that much to try and do right now because, unfortunately, we've got two teams that are on the wrong side of progress. Our baseball team.
Talk about the Giants for a moment, because the Giants. Who has a better team, Giants or Jets right now?
Apparently the Giants do, because they're the one that has the victory.
Okay,
but defensively, the Giants are so much better right now, and they showed it with their victory over Washington yesterday. And it's starting to look more and more like it's the defense that's going to be blossoming quite a bit. Not only that, but it's the young players that they have on that D-line that are really starting to make hay.
Now, the offensive line for the Giants.
What about it?
Exactly. What about it?
Well,
what about it? Tell me. You tell me. What about it? Are they better than the Jets, or are they worse than the Jets?
I think by a smidge. The Jets' offensive line is significantly worse because they can't seem to try and protect the quarterback. Yesterday, the Giants did a solid job of protecting Daniel Jones for the most part. As for the Jets, I just don't see anyone on that line that could probably protect Sam Darnold as much. Well, speaking of the Jets, they wound up making a trade just yesterday. Actually, not yesterday, but last night.
Right.
After the Miami game, the Jets wound up trading Steve McClendon to Tampa in a move that's really going to give the Buccaneers a shot in the arm defensively. McClendon is a cagey veteran who's able to stop the run the majority of the time, and especially considering the way the Buccaneers just manhandled the Packers yesterday.
Right.
I think the Buccaneers are going to really surprise some people the second half of the year and maybe challenge for the NFC title.
Now, here's the problem that I have with the Jets, okay?
You only have one problem with them?
Yes, and the biggest one is I told you since last year that they should fire this man. Because I told you that Le'Veon Bell was a really good running back. He had almost 800 or 900 yards last year.
900 yards total,
with a bad quarterback, with a bad offensive line, and he still managed to get 800, 900 yards, okay? Now, this man who is 0-2 or 0-3 or 0-4 at the moment, he's 0-4.
0-6.
0-6. They haven't fired him yet. I don't know what the hell they're waiting on. Secondly, they got rid of Le'Veon Bell, whether it's because of his salary, because they said they gave too much to two people. Their salaries are too high for two people, that they shouldn't have done it. But Gacy never, like I told you last year and I told you this year, Gacy never liked Le'Veon Bell.
He never had anything personal against the man. He just did not like the amount of money that the Jets signed him for.
Exactly. He didn't like it. But if the GM signs you, you got to work him in. And you know what? If he's producing, why not set more plays for the man? He gave you 800 yards. He came back in great shape this year to give you what he was worth. And what do? Because you don't like the man, you cut him.
Yep.
Because you're saying, because of injury, because he makes too much. But yet let some other team who just has to pay a minimum wage because he's getting the boatload from the Jets, they're going to get screwed because of, the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a quarterback that's a sitting duck. He's not going to be there next year. And
That's not a guarantee.
They're going to draft another quarterback.
That's not a guarantee that he's not going to be around next year because
if Casey is there next year, that quarterback will be there. But if Casey's not there next year or this year, they will get it. I'm telling you right now, they will get rid of that quarterback. I'm telling you, flat out, they'll get rid of him.
I hate to tell you this, but the Jets actually talked to a whole bunch of other teams about what kind of market value he has, and he has almost none.
Of course.
They can't even get a 7th-round draft pick for the kid.
Right. So they're going to
That just goes to show you that he's got no interest from other teams right now.
And this is Casey who said, wait and see. Wait and see. He'll be better than Eli Manning. I'm sorry. Wrong coach. Sorry. He's going to be really good. Don't worry. Wait and see. This coach picked him. Just like Eli Manning got dumped because of the other coach that really wanted this other dude, Sam Darnold. And what happens? He's doing it almost the same thing as the other guy from the Jets. Those two are not any better. And I'm telling you, per verbatim, they will get, those quarterbacks will not be there next year. And if the Jets quarterback is still there, they're going to draft another quarterback. And then they're going to have to fight to see who's going to be their quarterback next year. Watch.
Well,
Because Casey, if he has a job next year, then management doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They can't. They can't be. Because, again, how do you trade Le'Veon Bell, one of the best running backs in the league? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if, let's say, you have one of the best running backs in the league, but you're still 0-6 and 0-7, you get number one draft choice.
and at this rate, it might be Trevor Lawrence of Clemson,
Exactly.
who right now is the cream of the crop among all of the college kids in this game.
But this is what I'm getting at. Their defense is not too bad because they've drafted some pretty good kids. They just have to mature.
Yeah.
But, and even offensive line, there are one or two good kids in there too. I mean, you have to rebuild. And in 3 years, you get a good quarterback in there and they mesh well and you get a good actual coach. Because there was an article that was saying how come the Jets can't keep a high-profile player. What is it about the Jets that they can't keep a high-profile player? Or they always have problems with a high-profile player. What is it about them?
Well, if you look back at history and see some of the guys that wound up leaving to go someplace else, it's either a contract situation or ego or they didn't like the coaching staff or they didn't like teammates or words to that effect. As far as this batch of players now, I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Because the players rule now. It's not the coaches anymore. It's not like the old days where the coaches rule with an iron. Mike Ditka couldn't coach anymore in this league.
Oh no, not at his age anyway.
Because he's so used to a certain style that it was my way or the highway. Mm-hmm. And you got veterans in there going, you know what, Coach? I don't really need to hear you. I'm a pro bowler. I've been here for years. You really can't tell me much. So, I feel bad for the Jets, just like I feel bad for the Knicks, because they can get a high-profile player. Well, we already know why James Dolan can get a blasted high-profile player, but with the Jets, something about him that Le'Veon Bell, for God's sakes, man.
I get it.
It's unbelievable. And with the Jets, I'm telling you, if they
plain and simple, he never got a fair shake here.
Exactly.
And all that other stuff about this being a salary cap move, I don't buy it. I just don't think that he and Gase clicked whatsoever, for whether it was just his contract or whether it was something else. Those two did not click whatsoever.
And you said in 2 shows ago that you would give him midterm. How come they haven't fired this man yet?
Because Joe Douglas already said that he has been given the entire season, which says something. He's been given the entire season. He didn't commit to the future, which means maybe
you know
maybe when the season ends in January, he might be a lame duck. Who knows?
I tell you, he's already a lame duck unless they make this big surge like they did last year. Because now that they got rid of the problem, Le'Veon Bell, now that they got rid of that problem, let's see how. I feel bad for Frank Gore. But it's just amazing how they have 2 fantastic players. They pay them a boatload of money because they're the best at their position. And because the damn coach, the GM signed them before the coach got there, and the coach didn't want him there. That's the same guy that did the same routine in Miami. Mm-hmm. He didn't like players. He got rid of them. Then he got fired.
You also have to consider this notion that he's a quarterback whisperer. I mean, look at what he's done in Chicago and Miami. I mean, his offense was near the bottom of the totem pole offensively. And that really says something about Gase as a head coach, because if you're near the bottom of the totem pole with 2 different teams, now 3 different teams, what does that say about him as a so-called offensive guru?
And watch, he'll land another job, another head coaching job, instead of someone else getting a job. Whether it's another minority person, which there's hardly any coaching.
There's one minority assistant, a high-profile assistant, who I think would be really good with the Jets right now.
Exactly.
Eric
You got
Bieniemy.
3 women. You got 3 women in the league.
That's right.
Which is it's something in itself. You got.
That's progress, if you ask me.
That is progress. Some of them look butchy, though. Good Lord. But I'm just saying that has not looking and what's in your brain has nothing to do with one or the other. If they know the sport, hell, I don't care who it is, but I still have my claim to fame. What is it about the Jets now, and what is it about the Giants that they're not getting it? They're not getting it. Now, who's showing more progress now? The Giants, that you say that in 2 or 3 years they may have a shot if they continue the way they're going, or do you see the Jets saying, you know what, in 2 or 3 years, I see them progressing to the point where they actually are a contending team, or at least a good team?
The Giants have a little bit of a future than the Jets do, by far. Especially when you look at the core of linebackers and the secondary that they have. Did you see the way James Bradbury IV played in that secondary against Washington yesterday?
A monster.
Was all over the field. That's one example of a guy who could be a real contributor for that team. And there's also Jabril Peppers, the Jersey kid, another guy who has a bright future ahead of him.
Exactly.
Maybe the Giants were on to something when they wound up getting him for Odell Beckham Jr.
You know, everything takes time. And the most you have to build a team is at least 3 years.
Yeah.
And in the second year, they got to show some progress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but technically you have about 3 years tops,
Yeah.
depending upon. But let's go down the league for a moment. In the Giants section, who's in first, second, third? Who won, who lost? How they doing?
It's hard to tell who's doing well in the NFC East because everybody's under 500. But if you want to know who leads the Eastern Division right now, it's the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 2-4.
And they lost their quarterback.
Yeah, and Dak Prescott is gone for the year because he broke his ankle. So now it's going to be Andy Dalton who's going to try and lead the team to the next level. And it's not like he hasn't done anything. I mean, he's been in the league for 9 years. This is his 10th year right now. And he once led the Bengals to the playoffs 5 years in a row. So he knows what he's doing. And
Right.
he's a Texas native, so you know he's got to be really excited at playing in his hometown.
Now, who's in second place right now?
Second place right now is Philly, and then after that are the Giants and then the Redskins.
Now, I'm glad Joe Flacco had a shot at quarterbacking.
Even though he didn't play particularly well yesterday, it was good to see him take the snaps from center once again.
Right.
And
But
to be quite honest
did you
with
see some
you,
improvement?
what's that?
Did you see some improvement?
There actually
mean,
was a little bit
he
of
was a little
improvement. He was
off.
able to
But do
move
you
the
see-
ball
do
a
you
little
see
bit,
improvement?
although there was a little bit of improvement, although to be quite honest with you, it's hard to say that there was improvement when your team goes 2 for 16 on third down opportunities for the
Yeah.
game.
But like I said, so and in the Jets division,
Believe it or not, it's Buffalo.
whoa,
Buffalo is now the team to watch in that division. Not just in the AFC, but in the AFC East. They could be the team to watch in that division right now, especially considering that New England is looking like a real ordinary team with Cam Newton as their quarterback. It's Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets in that order of the division.
wow.
And just to give you an idea, I've got my phone with me, and I'm taking a little peek at Bills versus Chiefs right now.
Right.
And they just started the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs have a 20-10 lead. And this game was actually rescheduled because of COVID-19. Unfortunately, there was a COVID scare among members of the Chiefs. But
Yeah.
fortunately, those guys tested negative. So now they're in the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs have a 10-point lead. And it just goes to show you, when you're the Super Bowl champions and you still got a lot of weapons in your arsenal, it's kind of hard for you to be beat. And right now, the Chiefs are pretty much having their way with a team that's being considered a playoff contender.
Now in the 49ers division,
The 49ers division, let me go to that right now. Let's see exactly what's going on here. Here we are. It's the Seahawks, what a shock, that lead the Western Division. Then after that is the Rams. Then after that is the Cardinals, who play the Cowboys tonight. And then there's the 49ers, who are a 500 team after making the Super Bowl last year.
right? Now I know the Chicago Bears division.
The Chicago Bears lead the North Division by half a game over the Packers. The Bears are 5-1. The Packers are 4-1. Then you have the Lions, who are 2-3, and then the Vikings, a major disappointment from a year ago. They're only 1-5.
And Chicago's surprising you too, considering the
Chicago's
quarterback they have.
surprising a lot of people. Defensively, they've been spectacular. Offensively, they've been a whole new team ever since they put in Nick Foles as the quarterback. So let's see what they could do against a contender, though, Because I haven't seen them really go
They
up
haven't
against
played anybody. They played within their division, but they haven't played anybody out of their division.
Yeah,
That's
I haven't
worth
seen
it.
them play anybody of substance so far. Let's see. They've
But
beaten,
not that this year. I mean, the substance for this year hasn't been the greatest either in teams because of COVID.
Lions, Giants, Falcons, Colts. They did beat the Buccaneers. And then there was yesterday's game when they beat the Panthers.
It's a lot, you know. But I tell you, what do you think of football this year in general? I mean, what do you think of sports in general with all the politics that are from 4 years to now?
To answer
Because
your first
you had
question,
President Trump going, get rid of them, fire them for disrespecting the flag, even though he was not disrespecting the flag. Kaepernick still hasn't gotten a job. I mean, you have people protesting more now than ever before, whether it's soccer matches, football, baseball. They're all doing it in some shape or form.
yeah.
And it must be sticking a claw to some of these people that are saying, oh, they're disrespecting the flag, even though people tell them they're not disrespecting the flag. This is why. Now, I can understand why some people don't like it, because they just want to see sports to get away from the bureaucracy. But when you have the president, government, and I mean, Mark Cuban even goes on there and says, you know what? I have to do what my boys got to do. I got to keep them happy. Cuban may be crazy, but at least he keeps his people happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, within the past 4 years, politics has, you notice more about politics than ever before. Now more so within the 4 years since Kaepernick started till now. It's been more pushed. I don't know if it's because of President Trump. I don't know, whatever the case may be, or because of the cases that are happening now. But good Lord. I mean, LeBron James speaking out. A lot of the top players are speaking out. And congratulations to Lakers.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Lakers. Now, did they beat
They
a
beat
good
the Heat.
Miami team?
They beat a really good Miami team. Miami, not only was it Jimmy Butler that was leading the way, it was Bam Adebayo, it was Goran Dragic. Unfortunately, Adebayo and Dragic were missing time because of injury, but Miami had such a terrific run to the finals that them coming up short really, there's nothing for them to be ashamed of. I mean, they just ran into the better team.
And also, I mean, who is it? Tyronn Lue? Or is it
Tyronn Lue,
Doc
yeah.
Rivers? He's going to
He's got a new
Philly,
job.
right?
Tyronn Lue's got a new job. He's going to the Clippers.
Oh, he's going to the Clippers.
That's right.
And Doc Rivers is going to Philly?
Doc Rivers took the Philadelphia job, yes.
I'm telling you, this is going to be some league. The only people that I'm disappointed, I mean, think about it. The Nets, Kevin Durant's coming back, Kyrie Irving, and then they get a third play out of it, even though they got a good team so far.
And they got Steve Nash to be their head coach.
Again, they got Steve Nash to be their coach. I don't know how good he, unless you got to see it to believe it first.
Well,
But, you know, like some people say, if you got those people there, there's not much coaching you should be doing. You have to control the egos more than coaching, like Phil Jackson did.
mm-hmm.
But, you know, you have some of these teams that are not building. No matter how much they try, they're not building.
Or they think they're building when they're not.
Well, yeah, that's true, too. I mean, I don't think there's going to be that many free agents this year.
You mean in basketball?
Yes, in basketball. I don't think there's going to be that many free agents this year. I know Victor Oladipo is leaving.
Victor Oladipo, you mean?
Yeah, Oladipo, yeah.
Yeah, Victor Oladipo, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent. We don't know where he's going, to be honest with you. They have him connected to the Miami Heat. He said he's not going anywhere, that he's going to return to Indiana. But can we really take what he says at face value?
No, because they have him going to the Knicks. Remember.
Dream on.
I'll put it to you like this. It's depending upon what you want in life. Do you want money or do you want a championship? That's the problem. Some people love money.
I hate to tell you this, but
championships.
Victor Oladipo is never going to win a championship with the Pacers. He's better off going to a contender. I mean, I know he really blossomed in Indiana with this homecoming after his days at Indiana University, but he won't win a championship.
But he's got a bad wheel. That's something that's holding him back.
That's another thing. He's got bad wheels. And we
He's
really
like
don't
Kyrie
know
Irving.
if he's 100% or not.
He's great when he's on the floor, but he's not going to give you. He's not going to play for you all year round. So you got that part, and you got the Knicks talk, the great Knicks talk, talking about, they may go, instead of picking number 8, they go further down. That way they can get more draft picks.
Supposedly, they want to trade down.
Or they may go up to try to get LeVar Ball or that other kid, the other guard, and they're giving up their number 8 and their number 21 pick, and they give up another dude.
It's not like they don't have any draft capital for this year. They're picking 8th. They're picking, I think, 27th. And if I'm not mistaken, they have a second-round pick, which is number 39.
Exactly, but it all depends who's going to fall down there.
They just got to use it properly. But with the Knicks, there's no such thing as properly.
Well, the thing is, this year, I don't think is as strong. The draft people that are coming out of college this year is not that strong this year.
You don't think so?
That's what I keep on reading, that it's not that strong, that it's not that strong. You tell me, do you think it's strong? Is it better than last year, or was it better than the year before? I mean, you tell me.
Well, let's look at the draft from someone's point of view. Anthony Edwards of Georgia, good player. James Wiseman from the University of Memphis. He's intriguing, though, because he's a 7-foot-tall center who can block shots, who can make a lot of the point-blank shots that NBA centers are able to make. LaMelo Ball, who's probably the best player in the entire draft right now.
He's on 1 or 2.
Then you have one of the international kids, Denny Avdija, who's from Israel. There's also Isaac Okoro from Auburn, Tyrese Halliburton from Iowa State. He's somebody that the Knicks have had their eye on. And if they had their way, they'd probably trade up to try and get him. Killian Hayes, a kid who played international ball. He's actually from France. Then there's the kid from Dayton, Obi Toppin, who's a real monster underneath the boards. And
so who do you think is going to be at number 8 for them?
Well, if you look at one mock draft, it would say that the Knicks would get Obi Toppin. He's a good all-around scorer. And I think he can help. He could probably help them do a quick turnaround, because if there's one thing that the Knicks need right now, one of a plethora of things that they need right now, that's a number 1 scorer, a scoring threat.
Yeah.
A guy who can give you about 25 to 30 points a game and keep you in games, and also light it up from 3-point range. And he's actually he's a really good shooter. 63.3% from the field, 39% from downtown. And
because I'm hearing this craziness about bringing CP3, Russell Westbrook. If Russell Westbrook or CP3 come, then Carmelo Anthony wants to come back. I mean, that you have a young team. Why do you want to bring in a veteran that's, I can't believe I'm going to say that 31 is old, but the majority of that team is from 28 and down, up to 18 or 19.
First of all, the Knicks don't have a chance in hell at getting Chris Paul or Russell Westbrook. That's
On a
number
trade,
one.
yes, they do.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No, they
it all
don't.
depends what they. It all depends what the team wants. If they want draft choices, like you said, the Knicks have it.
Would you
If
want to
they
pay
wanna move
35
on,
to
it all
40?
depends.
Would you want to pay 35 to 40 million dollars for one player? I wouldn't do it.
I know
That's-
I
that's-
wouldn't. But
that's Chris
this
Paul's
is what-
salary.
This is what I'm reading. This. I wouldn't do it. I would just stick with the draft, and then hope for the best and expect the worst. Like they're saying, Van Fleet.
Fred
Get
Van Vliet.
Yeah, get him more than anybody. Forget everybody else. Get Van Fleet because he's a good gauge, and he was on the Lakers, and he couldn't produce because of everybody else that was on the team.
Well,
Get him.
apparently we're going to have a visitor make their way into the studio right now.
Who that?
Well, come on in.
Is it Mason?
No, it's somebody else. He kind of looks like a cross between Spike Lee and Mike Myers.
Oh dear Lord.
Come on in. Come on in. Go ahead, show your face.
Drum roll, please.
Go ahead.
Who is it?
You will be
I can't see.
right now. Come on in. Come on in. A little bit closer.
A little bit closer now.
Right down.
A little bit tighter
Now
now.
crouch down.
Tighter now. Hey, hey, hey.
Go ahead.
So who's speaking?
It's just covered, it's not showing the head.
That's because the system only shows a box. Come on in. Come on in.
Oh, who is it?
Right there. Right there. Right there. Now crouch down. There we go. That's it. We have actually we have a Knick fan joining us right now.
Yes, what is the name, child? What is the name? Say a name.
It's President Trump. You better watch the debate, October 22nd. Oh, CTV.
October 22nd.
I tell you, the people of CTV, they're great people. I got to come and visit them when I win re-election. I definitely got to come to this holiday event. I'm so proud of them.
You
A
know,
little bit more to your left.
yes.
There you go.
Now, what? Did you introduce this person's name?
Well,
Did you introduce him?
Trump.
He claims to be President Trump, but it's actually a Knick fan who's wanting to make his way in.
Okay, say the bloody name.
Actually, we really don't know what his name is because he has a mask on.
Oh, dear God. Anyway, so,
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you, and God bless America.
anyway, going back to the Knicks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because you already have the net settled. The last place teams, because like I said before, they have so many people going to the Knicks, it's pathetic. You have Van Fleet going to the Knicks. You have Victor, what's his name, going to the Knicks. You have CP3 going to the Knicks. You have Russell Westbrook going to the Knicks.
What sources do these people have that makes them think that any of these individuals are going to make their way to New York City?
Because they have whispers. They always have the whispers out there. You know, the whispers, you know, like, oh, he's got a chance. And Leon Rose used to be their manager.
All right. I'm going to throw the gauntlet down right now. None of these people are going to the Knicks. There is no doubt. There is no question. All of this stuff about these stars making their way to the Garden to play home games for a living is about as ludicrous as the Jets making the playoffs this year.
I can see
It's
them
not
going
going to
after it.
happen. It's not going to. There is no thought going into their head of wanting to make a living next season here.
I could
It's not gonna
actually see
happen.
them. I could actually see them doing something
These
dumb, like getting
these guys
CP3.
want to win championships.
Like I said, because remember, they're getting traded. They're not free agents. If they get traded, they have to go where they're sent.
If they have to go to where they're sent, they have to have at least an idea of where they want to be. Do you
No,
do
if
you
they don't have it
honestly
in their
think?
contract.
Do you honestly think that Chris Paul wants to make his living on 34th and 7th?
I'll put it to you like this. If he doesn't have it in his contract that that's not one of the teams he doesn't want to go to, then he's got to go to. Plain and simple.
It's not going to happen.
Plain and simple. You may not like the system. But
It's
if
not
he
about the
gets tra-
system. It's
I'll
about
put it
these
this
guys
way.
wanting to win.
If a player gets traded, a couple of teams, there was a couple of guys that said, okay, here are the teams that I want to be traded to. Here are the teams that I don't want to be traded to, right? There are some teams that have no clause in there that said, okay, these are the teams that I want to be traded to. They're forced to go to that team whether they like it or not. So let's say you're coming from a great team, and the coach says, and the GM says, Jamie, you know what? You're going to have to play for the Knicks. Sorry there, bud. You have to go.
Do you,
That is your
do
job.
you
That is
honestly
your
think that
job.
the Knicks would be interested in a 35-year-old point guard who's been nothing but a medical liability for the last 3 years?
This is the New
I mean,
York Knicks we're
seriously.
talking about. Yes, I could believe that there. Yes, because what is the Knicks' motto at some point? Give us your old, your meek, and your weary. Look at the players that they've gotten in the past. This is the only time they've actually tried to rebuild. If they bring in Russell Westbrook or CP3 to bring in Carmelo Anthony,
And who who in the blue
goes the whole-
hell
there goes the whole- there
do
goes
the
the whole
Knicks
thing.
have to try and make a deal with?
who do the Knicks have?
Who do the Knicks have that they could try and make a deal with?
Okay, they have expiring contracts, and they also have draft picks, like you said.
Yes, but what about players?
Again,
They need to send
they have
away players.
They have players that have expiring contracts that they may just want to get under the salary cap. That's the way you got to think sometimes. It's not, oh well, we need this player because he's going to fill one of the rosters. No, there's some teams out there that'll go, I want his expiring contract. I want that guy's expiring contract. And I want 2 draft choices on top of that. And they'll get it. Because there are some teams that want to get under the salary cap. Think about it for a second. It doesn't necessarily mean that they may have a player that they may get, that they may want. Because I keep on hearing about Peyton, Ephraim Payton, that he's going somewhere plus 2 draft choices. And I'm going, okay, just to get Lamar Ball. I'm going, no, that ain't going to happen either. But
I want to know exactly what your sources are regarding this because it is just
the same source you read, the Stream.
the what?
What is it called? The BS Stream? Something like that. I forgot what it's called. But you have the same app that I do.
Are you
And
talking about the Bleacher Report?
Yeah, Bleacher Report. I should have said BS Stream. Sorry about that. The Bleacher Report.
Well, sometimes the Bleacher Report can be BS.
and some of the writers that they had the Daily News and WFAN and so forth. Some of those people in the New York Post. I'm reading these articles and I'm going, I could see them getting a 35-year-old dude because they want to build something. And I'm going, but either if you get this one guy, then that guy's gonna want to win now. He's not gonna want to win later. But again, let's say if they get one or two veterans, and then they still have, let's say they get Anthony, Greg Anthony's kid.
You mean Cole
23.
Anthony?
Yeah, Cole Anthony at 23. And then they get another draft, and then they get another player. I mean, if they're going to get that one veteran player or two veteran player, it doesn't make sense because then the salary cap goes. But I'm just saying these are the players that are connected to the New York Knicks. And to me, they remind me of the Jets sometimes too. Why? Because they can't solidify a star player. And when they do solidify a star player, either he's too old, they rely on him too much, or he's got nobody to help him. Plain and simple. Let's see what happens. Because, like I said, the New York Knicks are a piece of work. They are a piece of work. And you got all these guards, Lamar Ball, the Clippers, the Warriors. Yeah, they need draft picks. Oh, they're going to bring down. They want to come down. But if you give them 2 or 3 draft choices plus someone else, they may go for it. These are all observations or guesses. But I love the ones that say that CP3 may come or Russell Westbrook may come because of Leon Rose. And Carmelo Anthony says, hey, if they get CP3, I don't mind going to the New York Knicks, back to New York Knicks.
Leon Rose has about as much credibility as the guy that's running the White House right now, which is none.
He's got contact, and that's why I think they got him. But the PR department is not doing very well with James Dolan because that's the one thing they have to clear up is the promotional department. They have to do a number. They have to make that ugly painting look very beautiful, and they're not doing a very good job because their comment is, oh look how many minorities we've hired. Look how many minorities we've hired. Look how many this, look how many that. But there's been more disasters with James Dolan than it surpasses. Even if they do something good because of that bloody fool, it'll come out as if they rather go on the negative than the positive. Now, I'm hearing, oh yeah, they may get rid of Kevin Knox. Okay.
That's because Kevin Knox has been maybe 2 steps short of being a real flop since he came out of the draft.
I mean, like I said before, I don't think he's as bad as he is, and I don't think he's as good as he was made. The problem that I see is that because of so many different coaches going by, and, the team is not that good. If you had players that were coming in that were good, I don't think he would play as badly as people would think he would play. But then I'm hearing, Mitchell Robinson being traded. The only person that's untouchable is R.J. Barrett. Mitchell Robinson, of all people, depending upon, to get Lamar Ball. Oh, let's trade 2 draft choices and Mitchell Robinson. That don't make any sense. If the draft is so stacked, why would you get rid of one of your best players?
Because the Knicks' incompetence knows no limit. That's why.
And I'm agreeing with you. And that's the thing. I am totally agreeing with you. Where I don't agree with you is that if a person gets traded, they have to go to that team. They have to play for that team whether you like it or not, unless they want to quit right there and not get paid.
Well, I can tell you of 2 instances where guys got traded and they refused to report to that team that wound up acquiring them.
You're absolutely right, and look what happened to them. That's the point. Unless it's in their contract, because there's some teams that don't want to play for certain teams. They want to go to contenders. They're at an age where they want to go to a contender. If I'm 30-something years old and I still got it and I can make a team better, I'd rather go to a contender than to go to a startup team unless I have youth behind me.
All the more reason why Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul will never consider playing for the Knicks because they want to win a championship.
It's not up to them. That's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. It may not be up to them. If it was up to them, they probably don't want to play. But if they have to by contractual, yes, they may want to. They may have to. I don't know what the contract. I don't know if they're at the end of the year, because I know Westbrook didn't fare well in Houston. I mean, for the Houston Rockets, so they may want to get rid of him. The Houston Rockets may want to get rid of him because he didn't fare well. So, if you're going to get a certain amount of players, if you're going to get a certain amount of draft choices and so forth, then you never know. But, hey, Jamie, I wanted to ask you another question, too.
Mm-hmm.
The other last-place team that were in the NBA, who are they?
The other last-place teams in the NBA?
Yes, because, you already know the Warriors. Do you think the Warriors will pick Lamar Ball? Or they won't pick Lamar Ball because they already got Stephen Curry coming?
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, although the two of them together it would make for a very, very bizarre duo. I'll tell you that right now. And Steph Curry was basically the de facto point guard anyway, so I really don't see why the Warriors would want to call up or even draft somebody like Ball.
And that's what you got to think. And it's very hard because I know LaMelo Ball. His father wants him to play here. And if you hear him,
yeah. Well, his father also wanted him to play for the Lakers, and he wound up getting traded after 2 years.
Yeah, they wanted all three brothers to be on the Laker team.
So much for that.
They can probably get away with it with the Knicks.
Now, that would be a real circus.
And then have his father talk it up with Dolan. That would be there's a circus right there.
I want to see.
Bad enough you got Dolan as the ringmaster.
Let me tell you right now. LeVar Ball, one thing that we know about LeVar Ball, he never keeps his mouth shut. One thing that we know about that creep that runs the Knicks and the Rangers and the rest of the Garden, he always keeps his mouth shut because he doesn't want to stir the pot. So I'll tell you right now, if LeVar Ball is going to stir the pot, there's going to be trouble. But I'll tell you right now, LeVar Ball punching the lights out of James Dolan would be something that I would pay to see in about 5 minutes.
Hey, I mean, when's the draft pick this year? Anyway.
The NBA draft? Let me find out for you. The 2020 NBA draft will officially be held on November 18th.
And November 3rd is Election Day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
That's not too far from now.
I'm wondering something, though. I wonder if what's happening with the politics that are happening now, let's say, God forbid for those Trumpeteers, if President Trump loses, right, and Joe Biden gets in, I wonder if things are going to change, and what do you see? Do you see them protesting more? How do you see it?
I think people are going to step out into the streets and do cartwheels for about 10 miles.
Or if President Trump somehow pulls it out, do you see him go?
Then the suicide rate is going to shoot up about 100%.
Huh?
the suicide rate's going to shoot up about 100%.
No. I mean, listen, everybody got their own way of politicking, you know. I mean,
There's politics, and then there's what that idiot does.
Yeah, but even he does one or two things right. Everybody does one or two things right. I just don't like the fact that he's trying to get rid of everything of what our previous president did. So it seems. He wants to. He doesn't want to acknowledge the other presidents, especially the minority president that we had last year. I mean, a couple of years ago. He doesn't want to acknowledge him. He didn't put his bloody painting up. So you know what? And normally that's a standard thing, but anyway. But I'm just saying, politics is sports. I wonder, depending upon who wins, is it going to be more heated, or is it going to be a little bit calmer?
Oh, it's going to get
Within
progressively worse. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be so much more heated. Don't be surprised if you see something go as far up as the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
And it could be anything.
I keep on telling people that there may be a civil war soon coming too, so don't be too surprised. But, I'm
just surprised
saying,
we don't have that already.
Well, if you listen to college professors and so on, they say that we're due for one because we haven't had anything like that in about it happens every 200 or 300 years. So supposedly we're due for one. So I wouldn't be too surprised. And if, God forbid, the pandemic hits us, our food shortage is going to be the first thing to go, not toilet paper. Forget toilet paper. Our food is going to be the first thing to go. But I'm just saying, how is it going to hit sports in general? Because there's going to be a lot of people. I wonder how things are going to be. Because look at wrestling. Good Lord, wrestling.
Oh, boy.
Yang talking about the wrestlers and hopefully talking about McMahon, how the independent contractors, they're not really independent contractors because they're not allowed to be on Twitch and all that. So, again, that's sports entertainment, but they are athletes.
So they can be on Twitter and Instagram, yet they can't be on Twitch?
They can't be on Twitch, and if they are on Twitch, they have to pay McMahon a certain amount. They have to give McMahon the bulk of their money.
Oh, that's
because
too
they're already
much.
getting paid. Because they're using their likeness. And how do you own someone's name is beyond me. Let's say my wrestling name is Paige, but my real name is Hector Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. My name is Hector Bosa. I'll go on Twitch. Okay. My name is Hector Bosa. Hector Page Bosa. Fine. No, can't use that because they have my name legally. And that's how they're getting, I'm telling you, that's ridiculous how McMahon is running that team. And they're supposed to be private contractors. But again, I'm not that well versed. I'm just repeating what I'm hearing. But all in all, because, the one that's really doing good in wrestling is Ring of Honor. I'm starting to like Ring of Honor more and more because they show different styles of wrestling.
Right.
MLW's out there still, and the NWA I think is still out there.
Yep. By the way, you just mentioned one of my favorite divas in WWE. Paige.
Yeah, she was having a fight too.
Mm-hmm.
She was having a fight too because she has her Twitch thing, and she's got it under her name, her real name. But they're saying she can't have it under her real name. So if you don't work for them, then you can. That's why some people are going to other wrestling organizations, and I don't know why they keep on going to WWE because the way they treat some of those minority people there, they don't push them. They kill Nakamura they kill Nakamura.
Yeah.
They're doing all right with Kushida, and most people don't want to leave NXT. Some of those people that are in NXT, they don't want to go to WWE because they destroy them. They destroy the mystique. But all in all, So, who won the Stanley Cup this year?
Tampa.
How'd they do?
Tampa.
By 3? 3 games?
They won in 6 games over Dallas.
That must have been some game.
And now Tampa, the city of Tampa has a chance to pull off a double play. Not only did the Lightning win the Stanley Cup, the Rays are in the World Series, and if they beat the Dodgers coming up, then the Rays and the Lightning would have pulled off a double play.
Oh, damn. The Yankees didn't make it?
No, they wound up losing to the Rays in 5 games in the division series.
And they're losing people next year, too.
Yep.
Tanaka.
Masahiro Tanaka, James Paxton, Jay Happ.
Now,
Brett Gardner, too.
They're trying to get Tanaka back, and they're trying to get the guy from, I think, Cincinnati or some
Corey
other
Kluber.
team. Yeah. If they can get him, Tanaka, I mean, the Mingo Herman, he's done.
Yeah. Although Herman wound up being reinstated from his suspension, so it's a 50-50 chance that he returns to the team next year.
Yeah, he paid his time. He did his crime. He paid his time. He's got to move on. But now, and with the Mets also having the new GM or the new owner, I should say, and they got
Stephen Cohen.
Yeah, Steve Cohen. Now, does he have the team? Well, they got to pass 2/3 have to assure that he gets it.
They still
but
didn't
let's say
get.
he does get it, right?
If he does get accepted as the owner, then Met fans can finally
Is he in
rejoice.
right away, or does he have to wait 2 or 3 years?
He takes over immediately.
Oh, because
If the owners vote to accept him as a member of their brethren and accept him as an owner, he takes over immediately.
Because remember what they were trying to do to him before when he tried to buy the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, we own 51%, you own 49%, and in 5 years down the line, then you can own the team.
Mm-hmm.
That was their thing.
Yeah.
Now I don't know what made them sell the team altogether. Something must have happened there.
You mean what made the Wilpons sell the Mets?
Yeah. What made them? I have no idea.
I think they had a couple of debts that they had to take care of.
Well, I thought the whatchamacallit didn't affect them. That guy that did what he did, I thought that didn't affect them.
At least that's what they said, but does anybody really know the real story of what happened with Bernie Madoff and the Wilpons?
Nobody knows nothing anymore, Jamie. I mean, it's not even about fake news anymore. It's about, some people could be telling the truth, and some people could tell the lies, but they tell that lie so good that people think they're telling the truth. Look at QAnon, for God's sake. We believe in QAnon. Good Lord.
I don't know what to tell you.
But all I'm saying is that the world has gone crazy. The world has gone crazy.
The world is going to hell.
And, and all we can do is hope for the best, pray for peace, and hopefully our beloved sports will continue on to the purest form as possible.
You said the magic word. Pray.
I'm looking forward to that Tyson fight.
Oh, okay. Against,
Yes.
Really?
I forgot the guy. Yeah, I forgot the dude's name. Good Lord. I don't know how could I forget him. But
Wow.
That's a big muscle right there. Tyson's just one big muscle.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how great a shape he keeps himself in.
51 years old. 51 years old, and I tell you something right now. I'll bet you he could beat the majority of those heavyweights out there right now.
He probably
Because
could.
there's no excitement out there.
Well, unfortunately, we got 10 seconds, so we have to run.
All right, Jamie, I'll talk to you later, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Good night, everyone.
Good night.